last storyteller this evening will be Aysia Vang. Come on up, Aysia, so we can take a picture.
Hello. My name is Aysia. This is my name sign. My last name is Vang. I grew up and I went to a hearing school. I learned to speech read. I was born more hard of hearing. I learned speech and sign language. But I grew up in a hearing school. They didn't teach us more advanced signs. I've always wanted to ask my dad if I could go to school for the deaf. My parents if I could go to school for the deaf. To be one of a number of people who have a similarity with me. And then, when I was done with high school, I decided to go to Gallaudet University. I was stoked. I filled out the application, I got some scholarships. As my dad was driving the 14-hour drive to Gallaudet, we got out of the car and looked around. It seemed interesting. And I wanted to make friends. So I decided to meet my roommate. We hung out, and they showed me different people who were on campus. They showed me what events were going on. Later, I asked if I could join the dance team at Gallaudet. They had auditions for the dance team. So before I tried out, I wanted to join the cheer team. So I got on the cheer squad. And that's where I learned about women supporting women. That was something I'd never experienced growing up. I was very isolated, antisocial, and I was a very shy person growing up. I was very happy to be exposed to other deaf women who were also dancers. My goal of the story is to share the reason I left Gallaudet. I met some beautiful people and wonderful international students who were just wonderful people. I left because I saved 3 lives there. You could call it traumatizing. My first experience, there was a man, it was 8 in the morning, we were in the cafeteria. He fell and had a seizure. I forgot I was in a deaf school, so I started screaming for help. Then I realized I was in a deaf school and I started signing. Please help, this person has fallen. But people just kind of stared at me. And I felt like I had lost my voice. I waited with him for the ambulance. I checked his pulse, his carotid artery. He was breathing. He had foam coming out of his mouth. I helped roll him over onto his side. I went to the ER with him. The doctor told me that he had a history of seizures and a medication triggered it. But I was very relieved and grateful to have saved his life. So the second person whose life I saved is this pretty black woman I met in class. And we worked together on a project for class. One day they sent me a text and said, "Can you come help me with some homework?" I said, "Okay." So I walked to their dorm. This woman was having a meltdown. I was like, "Are you okay?" They told me they'd experienced rape. They had been raped. And I thought about how I could help. Could I tell them something? Should I keep it private? Should I tell somebody? How can I help them? So I asked if they would be comfortable for me to tell security, the police, that report to the police that this had happened to them. She said, "You can." So I said, "Okay." So she went with me. I went with her to the police to help her. And it really was not easy for me. Because I know people feel like telling on someone else can be a bad thing, but I really wanted to help her. Taking advantage of a deaf person is not nice. And it really hurt. And I could feel her pain. I felt sympathy and empathy for her. And that is someone's daughter, that is someone's friend. It's their sister, their cousin, I mean, it's a person. And so the third person that I interacted with, I was walking around at midnight in the cafeteria. I was hungry. And I saw this guy, and he was walking on top of the building. Now at Gallaudet, the library has 2 floors outside. And there's a grass area on both of these levels. A grassy area on both of these levels. I didn't know if this guy was sleepwalking, or if he was drunk, or if he was confused. I saw he was walking with his eyes closed. And he was pacing up and down. I was very scared for him. So I started to run, because he was going to fall. He fell and got up, and fell again and got up. Then he landed on the cement with the grass. I felt like my brain froze. Because you know in psychology, you have fight, flight, or freeze. And sometimes people think they go, and sometimes people think they freeze. I froze. I didn't know what to do. I knew I needed to call 911, but I lived in DC, and was there an emergency 911? What was the emergency phone number? My brain wasn't working quite right. So I decided to stay at his side to make sure he was okay. I watched him to see if he was bleeding. He was not bleeding, he seemed fine, just dazed. And I think after that third experience, I learned a lot. Don't be a bystander. You, too, can save a life. You never know. It may be a stranger, it may be a friend. I appreciate your listening. Thank you so much.